Hello, hello. Welcome back to Mind Your Hormones. I am pumped for this conversation today because this is a real, raw conversation that I want to have with you about there's like things that have popped up while I'm pregnant that make me feel super guilty for thinking them, but I also want to normalize it because I know that I'm not the only one because I talked about it on Instagram and so many of you were like, "Oh my God, I resonate with this. Like, you need to talk more about this." So, we are going to be talking about the idea of this thought coming into my head about wanting my old body back during this pregnancy and feeling like shit about it. And we're going to talk about that. And at the end of this, I'm also going to talk to you about something so freaking exciting that I have for moms and moms to be that I'm literally like, I can't even express to you how freaking pumped I am for this. So stay tuned for that. But first, let's just get into this topic because I think it's really, really, really important to talk about it. And I know that I'm not the only one that feels this way. So let me just like paint the picture. Right now, at the time of this recording, I'm 31 weeks pregnant. And obviously, if you have been pregnant before, you have, and depending upon where you're at in your pregnancy, there's like a switch that goes off from your first trimester to your second trimester, where like all of a sudden you're like, holy shit, I have energy again. What is happening? I'm like feeling more like myself. It's literally like a switch. You just wake up one day and you're like, wow, like this is amazing. And then I didn't realize that there was going to be kind of another switch from your second to your third trimester that I personally have experienced. Obviously, everybody experiences pregnancy differently. This is my personal experience. I felt a big physical change from my second trimester to my third trimester, like pretty much like a switch went off. It's like, I don't want to say like I feel like a Mack truck hit me, but it was kind of just like boom, like right in your face. Like you're just, for me specifically, I'm a small person. I'm 5'1.5". Like I'm not even 5'2". I'm like have a small frame. So obviously the more pregnant that I am, the more weight that I have on my body, the more that my belly is bigger, the more I'm going to be feeling it on my joints, in my back, and my sciatica, stuff like that. And obviously in the third trimester, I'm bigger than I ever have been before during pregnancy and just in life. So I'm feeling it more physically. I had like a couple of weeks ago, it was about like a week of like really bad sciatica pain. My low back was hurting more. It's just like you definitely are not as physically free in your body in your third trimester. And that's the thing that I noticed the most. And that is when these thoughts kept coming up of like, damn, like I really miss my old body. And it's not so much the look of it. Obviously, that did come up. Like, I'm not going to lie to you about it, but it's more so the physicality of it, of just like being able to literally walk with more ease. If you know me, you know that I love going for my walks. It's like, not only for like exercise purposes, but more so mentally. Like I love going for long walks. It's just clearing my head. It's just one of the things I love doing the most. And right now it's a little bit more difficult. I have to go more slowly. I have to stop and stretch. It's just literally different. You get out of breath more quickly because all your organs are pushed up on top. Like it's more so the feeling more free in your body. That's the thing that I miss the most. And like being able to sit longer periods of time without my tailbone hurting, or like sleeping more comfortably, like just being able to like dance around and move like with like more ease. Like I'm someone that was never used to having this much weight on my frame, and I was always, you know, again, if you've been in this podcast for a while, I'm very active. I just like love moving my body. And obviously I'm still moving my body in ways that feel good, which we're going to talk about, but it feels very different. And I feel like shit for thinking of this. Like literally when this thought popped up of like, oh, I really like do wish or miss, I should say, miss my old body, quote unquote. I'm like, wow, I am a piece of shit. I'm such an asshole. I shouldn't be feeling this. Like, I feel so guilty. And then I was like, okay, because here's why, and maybe you could experience this. I feel guilty because I am so aware of the gift that pregnancy is, like of the miracle that's actually happening in my body right now and how freaking incredible my body is for literally growing a life, sustaining this life, being able to do all of this like just on autopilot. Like obviously I'm supporting it nutritionally, supplementally, lifestyle wise, like all of it, but literally my body is just doing this. Like it's absolutely insane. And I'm so freaking grateful for it. And this is where the guilt comes in, because having this thought of, oh, I miss my old body makes it then feel like, oh my God, like I'm not grateful for this experience. And I am. And the whole point of me bringing this up is that I really believe that both emotions can exist. Like we are just, I think everybody probably experiences this who's been pregnant. Like if you have been pregnant before or you're currently pregnant, please come slide into my DMs at Corinne Angelica and let me know if you've experienced this thought before of just like missing the ease of how your body used to be, like physicality wise, being able to just like move around with more freedom. But also loving your baby and loving this experience and being so excited about it. Like I really believe both emotions can exist at one time. And maybe like you're at the place where like maybe you don't love your pregnant body, and that's okay too. Like it doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't make you ungrateful. It doesn't make you not love your baby. It doesn't make you a bad mom. Like it doesn't make you any of that. So I really want to just normalize this because I know that I'm not the only one that's experiencing it. And I just believe you could experience both emotions at the same time. I can feel that I miss the freedom and the ease within my body, and that I don't love that I have sciatica pain or that I'm walking and it's like a little bit more difficult, but also loving my baby and being so excited about it and so freaking grateful and like, holy shit, this is literally such a miracle. And my body is a freaking badass for going through all of this. Like both emotions can exist at once. And I want you to, first of all, I want to normalize this. I want you to drop the guilt around it because you're not a bad person for thinking this. You're human. It's so normal to feel these feelings. This definitely came up a little bit in my second trimester too, but way more in my third. So again, no matter where you're at in your pregnancy, if you're having any of these feelings, it's completely normal. Like it is completely normal. You're not an asshole. You're not a piece of shit. You're not a bad mom. You are still so grateful for your pregnancy. Both emotions can exist at one time. And then what I also want to talk about is not getting stuck there, because it can get very easy to get stuck in like, oh my God, I'm waking up and I'm feeling really sore. And it's really annoying that now I have to just like stretch in the morning instead of going into my Pilates flow, or it's a little bit more difficult for me to walk. Like it's very easy to just get stuck in that, but like that doesn't feel good. Like we don't want to stay stuck in that. And it's like, yes, let's normalize and acknowledge how we feel and feel it and give yourself grace. But let's also not get stuck in that negative thought pattern, because that also does not feel good. So I want you to be totally okay with having those thoughts, but I don't want you to stay stuck there. So that's the other piece of this is like, okay, this is where our bodies are at right now. And this is how it feels. No, it might not feel as great as it did when you weren't pregnant, but what does feel really good to you right now? What is actually working and what is going to help you feel better in your body right now? So again, let me give you like a tangible example. A couple of weeks ago, I was experiencing really bad sciatica pain. The baby was just like maybe sitting on a nerve. Again, I like popped in a way. I guess it's so weird when people say that. I never understood it, but like it really was. I woke up and I was like, holy shit, like all of a sudden my belly's so much bigger. It just kind of happened. Obviously it was growing like, throughout the pregnancy, but it just was like, wow, this is a lot bigger than usual. And I just was really feeling my sciatica. So obviously doing my normal Pilates flows and, my sideline series and all these things that I was normally doing was not going to be supportive for me right now. So depending on what's going on with your body, what's going to actually help you feel better? For me, it was resting. Thankfully, I go to acupuncture weekly and he like massaged it out, gave me acupuncture. I just like did a lot of stretches. My doula came over and like did different positions with me to help move the baby off the spot. Like really thinking about what is actually going to help me feel better in my body right now, not okay, well, I was doing these workouts even in my second trimester, but those are not working anymore. So like, where are you at right now? And what does your body need right now? Because when you give your body what it needs in this exact current moment, that is when you're going to feel better physically. And then that's what's also going to help you feel better mentally. So for me right now, in my third trimester, it's not waking up and going right into my Pilates flows like I normally did. It's waking up, it's doing at least a 15-minute stretch. And if you're like interested in knowing about like the stretches that I'm doing in my third trimester that are really supportive for my low back and hips and like opening things up and all of that, I have a reel on my Instagram at Corinne Angelica. If we're connected over there, you can go check it out and save it and try it out, see if it helps you. But anyway, doing that every morning instead of going right into workout, even though I'm not going to lie to you, sometimes it's frustrating. I'm like, oh, I just want to get into a workout and not from the place of, oh, because I want to quote unquote lose weight or I want to keep my shape. Like that's not it. I just really love supporting my body. I love Pilates. I love moving my body. I just like love doing that. And that was something that was just in my routine for years. So it's frustrating to me to just sometimes now I'm like getting used to it because it feels so good and I feel so much better, which I'm going to talk about too. But sometimes it's annoying to like have to change up what you're doing and have to slow down. That's really what it is. It's like acknowledging that I'm having to slow down in certain things. And I don't love that sometimes. Like, again, I'm a go person. Obviously I do my meditation every single morning. I do my journaling. I love my slow mornings, but with certain things, I don't love slowing down all the time. And that is just the reality of where I'm at right now. So doing a 15-minute stretch every morning instead of going right into a workout, it helps me physically to do that. And then having like stretching and walking be my main forms of movement, because sitting on the couch all day is not going to support me. That's not what I mean by like slowing down and resting. Obviously, depending on where you're at, maybe that's what you need right now. Maybe you're on bed rest. Maybe you're in your first trimester. Like you have to listen to what your body needs right now. But that actually does not support me. If I sit too long, it actually makes things worse. At this current moment, I'm sitting on a yoga ball right now that has been so helpful. If you are pregnant, especially in your third trimester, highly recommend getting a yoga ball. It makes it feel so much better. It takes the pain, like the weight off your low back. It's just amazing. But anyway, walking and stretching is like my main forms of movement right now. And I have noticed my sciatica pain, knock on wood, has not come back since I have shifted things, since I have stopped doing certain Pilates workouts. I still do them sometimes here and there, depending on how I'm feeling, but in a much less way. And just like really tuning in and tapping in and listening to like, does this actually feel good? Or is this my ego wanting to actually do this workout? Because there's two very different things. So when you are doing things that are actually helping you physically, then it helps you mentally. So really focusing on, okay, maybe I can't do the things I normally do, but what's going to actually help me feel best in this current moment, in this current season? What do I need right now? Honoring where you're at this current moment, this current trimester, this current day, this current week, because shit changes from day to day. And it's just a beautiful way to tap into our body and give it what it needs without blowing past the season. Because it's also like, I'm not wishing, you have that thought of like, oh, wanting your old body back, quote unquote, but it's like, okay, well, once the baby comes out, like that's not going to happen either. You know what I mean? Like that it's going to obviously be different. It's going to feel different where you're not like, this baby isn't renting space in your, body anymore, but I'm going to be breastfeeding, so it's going to be that. And obviously your body's just not going to bounce back to what it was. It's going to be totally different. So it's not the thought of like getting it back. It's just like the thought of being more free in my body, which I don't know what it's going to look like postpartum. I've never had a baby before. So obviously I'm going to take you on the journey with me. But really, I don't want to blow past the season either, because it is so sacred and so special. And it's just freaking mind blowing what your body is actually doing. But I want you to just normalize this feeling. If you've had it, know that you're not a bad person, give yourself grace, acknowledge it, but don't stay stuck there. Really just do what feels best in your body to make you more comfortable. What's going to help you be more comfortable in this third trimester when things are just naturally more uncomfortable? Because focusing on the uncomfortableness of it is not going to help. Okay. It's just not going to help. So stretching, go check out that reel, see if it helps. It has helped me so much. Like no joke. I was having to walk like so slow. It was just horrible. I don't want to say it was horrible, because honestly, I've had an amazing pregnancy. Like I will take it. A little sciatica pain, like it is what it is. I'm grateful for all of it. But at the same time, no one wants to be in pain. But these stretches have really, really helped. And like walking has helped a lot too. So just really tap into what you need right now, and honor where you're at. And don't blow past this season. but know that give yourself grace. You're not a bad person for thinking these thoughts. Please come message me on Instagram if this is resonating with you, and share this with someone who is maybe pregnant or a mom, because maybe they're feeling like this in their postpartum. I'm sure I'm going to be feeling like this in my postpartum also, which is why I have created something that I am so excited about, because I want to be able to have conversations like this with you, not just on the podcast, where sometimes it's just like a little like 3-minute thought that I have about something, or like I really want to like pull the curtains back on what is actually happening of navigating the end of my pregnancy, while I'm also hopefully moving, or maybe moving right before we have the baby or right after. I'm like talking to you about my birth plan, about how I'm prepping for an unmedicated birth, about what the actual birth looks like, about how I'm going to be navigating breastfeeding, and all of this in real time. Like obviously I do episodes here and there about certain topics like that, but I really wanted to have a more intimate space where I can talk to you right on your phone in real time, no added calls onto your calendar, and really pulling back the curtains, peeling back the layers, and being so authentic, so true, so real about what's actually happening literally in the moment. Because when I do podcast episodes, I think of these things, and then like, a few days later, I'll like record an episode on it. And there's so many times where I'm like, oh, I want to talk about this. And then I don't actually end up talking about it, because I'd be like, oh, it'll only be like 5 minutes, just like a random thought that I had. But what I've realized during this pregnancy is the power of really like being surrounded by people who get it, and having honest conversations about things that people feel guilty talking about, like this conversation right here. People don't want to talk about this because you feel like an asshole for feeling this way. You know what I'm saying? So this is why I created, it is called Motherhood Unfiltered, and it is a membership community. And I've been wanting to do some form of a membership community for so long, but I never knew what I actually wanted it to look like, or how I would want to run it, or what it would be based around. And now I've finally figured it out. It is an unfiltered view of navigating pregnancy, postpartum, and first-time motherhood. Like for moms and moms to be, like that's exactly what it is. Think about it like the most intimate podcast vibe ever. And if you are familiar with Voxer is a messaging app on your phone. I use it with all my clients. It's kind of like Nextel. If you were back in the day, if you're old enough to know what Nextel actually is, that's what it's like. It's just a voice messaging app. Because I also know if you are pregnant or if you are a mom, you don't have time to just hop on calls all the time and have more Zooms added to your calendar. This is something where you're just going to be able to plug in at any point. I'm going to drop voice notes for you in real time, again, about things like my birth plan, navigating breastfeeding, sleep training versus not sleep training, like so many different topics. It's just an unfiltered view of navigating motherhood. So if you are someone who's in this space right now and you want to have more of these conversations and just be like with me on this journey in real time, look at the show notes for Motherhood Unfiltered. I'm so excited about it. If you have any questions about it, obviously message me on Instagram. I can't wait. I'm going to talk about it more on the podcast. We are just literally opening it up at the time that you are listening to this. So I can't wait to just see where it evolves and how it grows, because there's going to be so many topics that I literally don't even know about that I'm going to want to talk about once I do become a mom. So I cannot wait. It's going to be so awesome. All of the information will be in the show notes. Regardless, I'm so grateful for you. I'm so happy you're here. Please share this with someone who is pregnant and might be feeling these feelings, but feel guilty for thinking them, because I know that it can just be so supportive to know that you're not alone in this. So I love you so much. Thank you for being here, and I will talk to you soon.